What's up guys, they call me Shofu, and here on YouTube I do a lot of competitive battling. I know how to play the game, I've been playing for years. Pokemon is a very knowledge intensive game. You have to know what to do in most situations. You have to know what Pokemon like to do, what you would want to do, what your goals are, what you need to eliminate, all that jazz. It's best learned by just playing a lot. You need a lot of experience to play this game well. But there are still things you need to learn in order to get to that point. So, we're going to start with the basics. And at the bottom of the basics is probably going to be EV training. So I'm going to teach you guys about EVs and IVs. Obviously, if you play the game for a while, you probably already know what this stuff is. But for those of you who still battle your friends at lunchtime with your level 39 Pokemon, I'm about to teach you guys how to give your Pokemon a boost in a certain stat that you would want it to have a boost in. Give you a little edge, give you a little more power, a little bit more bulk, a little bit more HP, a little bit more speed, all that. So we're going to get into that right now. Let's start off with effort values, or EVs for short. EVs are attributes which can increase a Pokemon's stats. When you defeat a Pokemon, you gain its effort point value. Accumulate enough of these effort points and they will translate into stat boosts for your Pokemon. Let's break it down numerically. A total of 510 EVs can be put into any Pokemon, with a maximum of 255 EVs put into one stat. This means that if you so choose, you can put 255 EVs into two stats. But you must also know that EVs are only useful in multiples of 4. This means that only 252 EVs can be used in a single stat, even though you are allowed to put 255 EVs into a single stat. When a Pokemon gains 4 effort points pertaining to a single attribute, it will increase that stat by 1 point. This usually means that you can increase a stat by a maximum of 63 points. If you add in natures, that number can rise or drop. The way to get these effort points is to defeat Pokemon in-game. To gain effort points of a certain type, you must defeat a Pokemon whose highest stat is the type of effort point that you would want. For example, defeating a Machop will give you 1 attack effort point because its highest stat is attack. Defeating an Abra will give you 1 special attack effort point because its highest stat is special attack. But on the other hand, defeating a Kadabra will give you 2 special attack effort points, and defeating an Alakazam will give you 3 special attack effort points. So not only is the quality of the Pokemon important, but the type of effort point that you want is also important. For example, here we've run into a wild Woobat. Once we knock out this Woobat, we will gain 1 speed effort point because Woobat's highest stat is its speed. If we knock out 3 more Woobats after this battle, we will gain a total of 4 speed effort points, which will then increase our maximum speed by 1. But the way these EVs work is they are added to the amount of speed you would gain normally anyways. So just by leveling up, say I would have gained 3 speed. If I had gotten, let's say, 16 speed effort values, my entire speed would raise by 7 because of the effort values that I have gained along with me leveling up. So if I would have gained 3 speed by leveling up anyways, and then I had 16 effort points like stacked up from battling, then my entire speed will raise up 7, if that makes any sense. Next we're going to talk about items that raise your stats directly. In Pokemon there are 12 items that raise your stats directly. First we're going to talk about vitamins. There are 6 different vitamins, 1 for each stat, and each vitamin adds 10 EVs and increases your Pokemon's happiness a little bit. But vitamins cannot be used on stats that already have 100 EVs on them, but they can be used anytime before they have 100 EVs on them, meaning that you can use a maximum of 10 vitamins on each stat of your Pokemon. This is of course after factoring in the 510 EV limit of each Pokemon. The 6 types of vitamins are HP Up, which increases HP, Protein, which increases attack, Iron, which increases defense, Calcium, which increases special attack, Zinc, which increases special defense, and Carbos, which increases speed. Although you'll still need to do a lot of EV training, vitamins do save you time. It pretty much cuts out half of the EV training you need to do because you'll be able to raise a certain stat up to 100 EV points, and then you'll only need 152 to complete your EV training in a single stat. Next we're going to talk about another item that directly influences your stats, the wings. Exclusive to 5th generation, wings are very similar to vitamins except they only increase your effort point value by 1. Unlike vitamins, wings do not have a limit to how many can be used. There are 7 types of wings, but only 6 wings will increase your stats. We have the Health Wing, which increases your HP, the Muscle Wing, which increases your attack, the Resist Wing, which increases your defense, the Genius Wing, which increases your special attack, the Clever Wing, which increases your special defense, and the Swift Wing, which increases your speed. There's also the Pretty Wing, which increases your beauty, but I mean, who gives a fuck? Bitch. Next, we're going to talk about things that aid in the EV training process. First up is the Pokemon virus, or the Pokerus. The Pokerus is a rare virus that has no negative effects. When a Pokemon has it, it gains twice the effort points per battle. When you notice one of your Pokemon has the Pokerus, it is very important that you try to benefit from it as much as possible. That means you should spread it around and always save one Pokemon with the Pokerus in your box. When the Pokerus Pokemon is in your box, it will keep the Pokerus forever. It's only going to go away if it's in your party and the day changes from night to day. The reason for this is that Pokerus can wear off to an extent. It will still gain twice as many EVs, but it will not be able to spread it. This will be referred to as passive Pokerus as opposed to active Pokerus. Pokerus is spread simply by keeping a Pokemon with active Pokerus in your party along with others. Every time you battle, there's a chance it spreads. Pokemon with passive Pokerus can be infected again and get the active form again. Next, we have the Hacho Brace. The Hacho Brace is a hold item that doubles the amount of EV points that a Pokemon holding it receives in battle. But, at the same time, it does reduce your speed by half. Even though the Hacho Brace may sound very attractive to you guys right now, based on the description I just gave it, you don't want to use that in combination with the Pokerus. What you want to do is use the power items. The power items are items that give you 4 additional EVs per Pokemon you defeat. Not only do they give you 4 additional EVs, but if you use them with the Pokerus, you will gain 8 additional EVs. Each power item applies to a different stat, in addition to the normal effort points gained. So you can use the Pokerus and a power item to gain an incredible amount of EVs per battle and finish EV training extremely quickly. There are 6 power items: Power Weight, which increases your HP, Power Bracer, which increases your attack, Power Belt, which increases your defense, Power Lens, which increases your special attack, Power Band, which increases your special defense, and Power Anklet, which increases your speed. So what does all this mean? Well, let's use our Woobat example so I can explain it to you. Remember previously how I said if we defeated one Woobat we'd get 1 speed EV? Now, if we combine that 1 speed EV with the Pokerus and the Power Anklet, we will gain 10 EVs for every Woobat we kill. This is how it works. You take the 1 EV that we would have gained from the Woobat, and you use the Pokerus to multiply it by 2. So there we have 2 EVs. Then you multiply the 4 EVs from the Power Anklet by 2, we get 8, you add the 2 and the 8 together, and BAM! You have 10 EVs per Woobat to kill. So say we wanted to max out our speed, we'd use 10 Carbos to give ourselves 100 EVs in speed, and then we'd kill 16 Woobats, and BAM! Our speed is maxed out! Lastly, we're going to talk about items that decrease the amount of EVs you have. In Pokemon, in case you messed up on your EVs somewhere, there are items that help you take away these EVs and then you can start over. The Pomeg Berry decreases your HP EVs. The Kelpsy Berry decreases your attack EVs. The Qualot Berry decreases your defense EVs. The Hondu Berry decreases your special attack EVs. The Greppa Berry decreases your special defense EVs. And the Tomato Berry decreases your speed EVs. These are only to be used if you want to take away EVs in order to put EVs back into another stat. So it's pretty much like a reset button. Next up, we're going to talk about individual values, or IVs. Like EVs, IVs also have a large effect on the stats of your Pokemon. However, unlike EVs, you cannot change the IVs of your Pokemon. For each stat, the IV itself is going to be between 0 and 31, 0 being the lowest possible stat, and 31 being the highest possible stat. For example, these 2 Lucarios are identical, but you'll notice a huge difference in their attack stats. The Lucario on the left has an attack IV of 0, while the Lucario on the right has an attack IV of 31. To better demonstrate what I mean, let's say one of these Lucarios had an attack IV of 10. Their attack at this level would be 235, if that makes any sense, because the Lucario on the left has an attack IV of 0, so it's at 225, and the Lucario on the right has an attack IV of 31, so it's at 256. The difference is 31. So basically, in order to get the highest maximum stat possible through EV training, you need an IV of 31 to get that maximum stat. Sometimes you want some of your IVs to be 30 depending on which hidden power you want, but that's for another video. I'll explain that in another video. Woo! Last but not least, and maybe most importantly, are natures. In Pokemon, there are 25 natures. They can be found on this chart. Natures increase and decrease a certain stat, and there are 5 neutral natures which do neither. Sometimes it's good to increase a stat and lower a stat that you're not going to use. To better demonstrate my point, I have a selection of Lucarios for you. Okay, this Lucario is a neutral nature, it's bashful, it doesn't increase any stat and it doesn't decrease any stat. This thing is not EV'd at all, and it has 31 IVs in every single stat. Actually, no, it has 4 HP EVs, which is why its HP is at 282 instead of 281. But other than that, it has no EVs, it's just neutral natured, nothing is raised, nothing is dropped. So yeah, this is probably not what you want on the Lucario. This next Lucario is Calm, but we wanted to focus on attack. So what Calm does is it raises your special defense, but it lowers your attack. So this is not a good nature for Lucario. Let me repeat, this is not a good nature for Lucario. Lucario, you want it to either be fast, have a lot of special attack, or have a lot of physical attack. As you can see, the special defense is red, which means that it's raised, and the special attack, and the regular attack is blue, which means that it's lowered. So you can see the difference between the two Lucarios. The last Lucario had 256 in attack because it's neutral, and this Lucario has 230 in attack because it's taken away from its attack. So you guys can pretty much see how important natures are when it comes to stat gains. Now here we have another Lucario. This Lucario is going to be adamant, and it's not going to have any EVs except for maybe HP, just like the other ones. And you guys are going to see how much more attack it has than the other two Lucarios just because its nature increases its attack. So here you guys are going to see that this Lucario actually has 281 in attack instead of 230 or 256 just because of the attack raise. And you can see that its special attack is lower than the other two Lucarios, but we're not focusing on special attack, we're only focusing on regular attack. And then next you guys are going to see a Lucario that is adamant and has 252 EVs in attack. As you can see there, it has 350 attack instead of 281. So this is what a max EV Lucario looks like. It has 252 in speed, 252 in attack, and 6 in HP. Therefore, we have the full 510 limit, and that Lucario is fully EV'd. So that just shows you what the Pokemon look like when they're fully EV. They do have extremely high stats, most of them at least, when they are fully EV'd. So hopefully you guys do take this information into consideration if you didn't know it already. I'm glad to have been here to help, and I will be out. Next episode we're going to be talking about the locations on where to EV train, and we'll also talk about the hidden power of the IVs and what the IVs of hidden power do for you. And yeah, so see you guys next time. Deuces.